I'm going to go ahead and share through the network. We're waiting on Dr. Joe. Hey, Jillian. All right, Dr. Joe's not here. We're going to share through the network. He'll be here in a second, I'm sure. If these shows resonate with you, please share, as we're getting hammered by Facebook suppressing us. And thank you for your continued love and support and contributions. A little bit goes a long way, and we're about to hit the road tomorrow, or the next, I think tomorrow. Actually, we're going to hit the road tomorrow and make our way to Arkansas and get this thing expanded. Is that you, Dr. Joe? Dr. Lightheart? There's a Dr. Lightheart in the audience. One second. All right, let's get the good doctor up here and see what's happening.
Is that you, old chap?
All I can see is a big black. There you are. You got to see your pretty face. What's happening? Looks like you're burning the midnight. Looks like you're at work. Are you at work?
I am.
Oh, you're in your psych ward cell. There's a camera over your head. Right, they're keeping you. They got you on lockdown. They probably got you in. They probably got your ankles shackled to the bottom of the chair. Is that a blue? Is that? So what's going on, man? What's happening? Can you hear me?
There's very peculiar things happening.
I do it every day. I'm telling you. I watch these. Are you seeing something on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It happens to me on these shows all the time, and I always wonder if it's the audience. I don't go back and look at a lot of the shows, but there's no coincidences. These are glitches. You know. What? Has it not stopped? What's it look like?
This is the most peculiar thing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm also hearing reverberations all over the place.
Oh, that's got to be your. I don't know why that would be happening. It will happen sometimes when. Hang on. Shit. You're making me change everything. Change. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Is that any different? Is that any different? Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Is it reverberating?
Yes, it is.
The only time I've ever seen that happen.
But yeah, that's what's happening.
The only time I've ever seen that happen is when the other person doesn't have a microphone, unless the computer is your mic. Because what happens is if they're in a room with a big space, like,
Right.
you know, and not like carpet, like the room you're in, then I have to wait until they stop talking because their sound waves are still in the air, and that's what happens. So I don't know. Are you using a mic on your earphones?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
In a room with a big space, like, you know, not like carpet, like the room you're in. And I can hear you. You have the video on. Sound waves are still in the air. I can hear me talking. You have the video on. I don't know. That's what it was. On your
hang on, I'm going to have
yes. Did you drop some acid this morning?
No.
And I can hear you.
What I'll do is
you have the video on. I can hear it playing. You have the window of the Facebook Live up. I can hear it. I don't know what it was on your.
Hang on.
Okay. Close everything out. Close everything out and go back to Facebook Messenger and click the link. My God, what was that all about? All right. So what's going on, everybody? I think today is a big day. And from what I understand, I was asking Morgan this morning in regard to Franco, you know, and his forecasting and the intel he gets. And I thought he said November 21st is when the 3D inverted matrix projection totally ceases. Yeah. Let's see. He's not back yet. Yeah. So I don't know. Something feels different. Morgan had a huge download yesterday. There was a big energy that came in yesterday. She took a nap. I took a nap. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Hey, I just want to say something real quick. I don't know if everybody knows, Marianne Savino is battling the big C or the little C. And she's got a GoFundMe. It's on my page. It's on the Soulology pages. It's on Wanda Vitale's page to help her in her successful campaign, you know, with her medical condition. So, you know, she's a beautiful warrior. She's very inspirational for all of us. She's very courageous. She's funny and witty, and she's got great wisdom, and she's been a good friend to all of us and a great leader out there for a long time. So, you know, visit my page, visit Wanda Vitale's page, find that GoFundMe and send a little love her way. All right, here's Dr. Joe. Let's see if we can get him back here. Get him back in just strictly the 5th dimension here. I think he was like in the 99th dimension. All right, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
Hello,
can you hear me
Todd.
now? Now.
I can hear you very clearly, thank you.
Is there...
No, there doesn't seem to be a reverberation now. No.
That's because you were, and the only reason I know that is because I have big man breasts like you do. No, because I've done it before. So I've been, you know, I'll be on the show and the video on Facebook goes on. And I'm like, what? Yeah, it's pretty trippy. So,
how the hell are you anyway, old chap?
You know, I don't know. I was just saying a minute ago when you were coming back on, I asked Morgan today, I said, you know, November 21st, the date just hit me and I was putting up the post. And I said, isn't November 21st the date that Franco said that the inverted 3D matrix, you know, from his intel would no longer be projecting, you know, projecting its whatever, the movie. And that at that point, it only plays in us and literally goes away. And that's kind of what I feel. You know, I woke up today and I thought, man, we've all busted our asses and we live in a pure love, pure truth universe. And for some reason we didn't have reciprocation, and there was a beautiful design and rhyme and reason to it. We all put it together. We all agreed to do it. And it's like the, you know, the little things, the things that have shrouded our soul. We look at these traumas and everything, but it's the little things too. It's the little things that we worry about, you know, that's taken our time. And this, I think, is what's leaving. Part of what's leaving. I mean, we always look at the deep shadows, but it's these little intricacies that play out in our frequencies every day that have, that's what I'm getting. You know, that's just Todd's intel. Todd's intel is, it's something really big has shifted, and man, I think we're in for a hell of a ride in a very positive way.
I've gone through the most peculiar experiences just in the last 3 days, really. I've been sort of met with everything from deep shadow to complete blissfulness, and there's a part of me that's always watching. Can you hear me okay, Todd? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I can.
There's a part of me that's watching the process. Yeah, don't start. There's a part of me that's watching the process to say, go on, son, you'll be okay. We're just cleaning up your act. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel is really happening. That I've gone through, I became the person that I used to be and the person that I didn't like at all. I got into vengeful thinking. I got into judging everybody. I got into real, if you look at me like that again, I'll rip your effing throat out. And and I wasn't saying that to you, Todd, but I was basically saying,
I get what you're saying, Joe. I totally get what you're saying. It's but I guess that's what I'm saying is, like, I think everybody is landing in the same place. I mean, okay, let's just talk about the people that are in our circle, this community, this, we don't even know how many people are in this community. But my point is I think that's going away. I think it's going away. I think it's leaving us. And I think we have been visited, all of us, by some stuff in certainly last month, this month, but I think this is what we're letting go of. I don't think it's going to be allowed to play in our head anymore. I don't think it's going to have anything to feed it, unless it's someone or something else, really someone else engaging it. And I don't think that's going to be supported much longer. I think we're in good shape, but I get what you're saying. But how do you feel now?
I feel from about 11 o'clock this morning, I felt completely blissful and happy and joyful and free. And that was the promise that was made to me over 28 years ago, that if I surrender completely and utterly to something that I had no idea what it was, just surrender in blind faith and believe that within the invisible realms that I would be looked after. Todd, that's what's happened to me. The only time that I never felt free was when my head got back in to try and understand what was going on, to try and analyze and to try and work things out. Because you and I have talked many times that the ego has a need to know, and it needs to know so it can control situations, so it can manipulate situations, because it's either frightened child or a spoiled child in a man's body. And that's what's been coming back to me. There's been a few snippets that reminded me of my behavior when I was in drink. And Todd, it wasn't very pleasant at all, And if it's just a reminder to cancel out, and the fact that I'm not engaging with it anymore, just to cancel out and clean it up, then I'll accept that. I feel like I've been tested over the last month to the nth degree, but I've been okay. Because when I look back, I've been looked after all the way through the process. And there's been times when I felt like a raging lunatic just wanting to kill everybody, right? And at the other hand, I've been like a frightened child. I've had all the paranoia back. I haven't been engaging with it. That's what I'm trying to say. I've been separated from it, almost like an observer. And I could feel it trying to hook me. But I've been able to, when I feel the hook coming in, I can breathe it away and try and stay as balanced and as calm as possible. And right at this moment, I feel absolutely marvelous, and some negative bastard will come in there now and say, this too shall pass. And I'm sure that it will, but I'll be able to handle the situation, whatever comes next, really.
Or then the universe might come in and say, you're doing all right. And then the rebirth starts. No, I'm kidding. No, I really, I really think we turned a corner, a big corner, giant corner, like Judgment Day, she's probably going to write about it. So I'm not going to say it, but last night, man, this energy came in. So it was yesterday. I did a couple of shows. She went down. I went down. We got up. and we were sitting around, and this huge, this huge energy came in again, is how I would describe it, but really she felt it because they're like transmitters. And it was so powerful what she was shown or saw, which is also something I saw 8 years ago when I woke up. It was one of the things that I was shown on the timeline. And so anyway, it hit her so hard, she started crying out of, out of just gratitude and reverence and, just being blown away by by what she was seeing in the energetic field, which we all know everything happens there first. And it seemed to be this, like, well, that's why, I was bringing the thing up about Franco, because something to that degree. And I realize everybody's intel comes in different language and different, styles and all that. But if you look at the energy of what someone's saying, that's what it feels like to me. 2020 to me feels like no obstruction, none of that old projection. And if it's in us, and as it's in us, it will continue to just go down for everybody, because collectively we're past the tipping point, and whatever, we're in alignment.
No, I agree, mate. And what it feels like to me is that when you let go, it's almost like this dynamic divine hose comes in to hose you down and clear all the shit that's gathered over eons of time, just to leave you who you really are as your essential self, your soul self, so that you can vibrate and work at the frequency that you set yourself before we came here. That's the way I feel now. These are apocalyptic times, and as you know, apocalypse just means lifting the veil or removing the veil, and I feel that that's what's happening.
It means being buck naked.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You're
And
unveiled.
and I do that, because I have this sort of thing for taking all my clothes off all the time. I used to do it all the time when I was young, but now I do it when I'm sober, and I'm okay about it, because real, raw, authentic, right, truth, naked truth it is, really. And it's okay to be yourself, and there are certain, and do you know what I had in the week, Todd? All my life, I've wanted to be somebody else. I've modeled my appearance. I've modeled my behavior on other people that I looked up to and respected. And do you know
Is that
what?
why you're growing your hair longer? Is that why you're growing your hair longer?
Yeah, because you are the epitome of magnificence as far as I'm concerned. Right. And I'm still a pathological liar, by the way, but I'm working on that one.
I was going back into serious mode, and you dropped the bomb. Oh my God, you stimulated some thought though too. God.
But the thing is, isn't it? It's go ahead.
No, I was just going to make a quick comment, and that was it's. You said it's okay. It's like being comfortable in our own skin, our soul skin, and it's not like we even have a choice. That's what I'm saying. Is like it can't be stopped.
No,
it can't be stopped. So get used to being buck naked to the soul, because that's really what it is. And I think that the biggest thing, the fear, I guess is what I was also getting at a minute ago. We think of all these deep fears and all that stuff, but it's the little things, it's these little things that God have been in our existence moment by moment by moment that are not going to play anymore. Like you said, you've been an observer and you didn't go back in. Would you have gone back in 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago? I would have.
Yeah. And this is the thing is, you see, it's what we emotionally engage with. And most of my life, I've unconsciously, emotionally engaged with everything to defend myself or to push myself forward and try and make myself important. Now I can feel it almost where I'm in neutral most of the time now. And I've really got the conscious choice as to whether I engage with it or not, right? And that's the freedom is, choose for yourself, Joe. What do you really want to do here? Do you want a cup of tea or do you want a cup of coffee? It's completely yours to choose now, right? But before, it was always this unconscious influence that was driving me to behave in certain ways. Are you all right?
What? Did y'all hear that? Did any of y'all hear that? Holy crap. You just went like multi-dimensional, multi-linguist on me. It was
No,
like
no.
12 languages came out of your mouth at the same time. I kid you not. Somebody
Well,
let me know if y'all heard that.
it's
Oh,
funny
she
you should
said
say
Cindy's.
that. It's funny you should say that because that's what I'm getting all the time now. This 12 is coming
Yeah,
back. I've had this for a long
yeah,
time, for many, many years. And I do
yeah.
believe that there are 12 tribes, 12 disciples, 12 intelligences, 12 aspects of what it is to be human, each with a different frequency, each with a different consciousness, each with a different
Uh,
language, And I think that you just heard them all in one go there. And that was timelines collapsing, Todd.
Amy, Amy Sunshine says, oh my God, we got some great comments. Just so you know, I'm not kidding with you. First of all, I got to go back to Ricky Sauter. Richie Sauter, he put up a comment a minute ago. I think I can't find it, but I think it said activated by fuckery.
Good heavens.
That's a good title for a book in retrospect of the ascension. Oh yeah, they heard it. Yeah, they're all laughing about it. God, man, I keep losing my thought because I'm laughing so hard my stomach hurts.
Good, good.
Anyway,
It
you
will
were
help
on.
you.
Oh, yeah. No, go back to what you're saying. This is go back to no the 12 thing. The 12 thing. How long ago did you get that part of it?
Oh,
Like
years and
the
years.
12.
I've had 12. 12 has been my number for a long, long time. Two numbers important in my life: 666. Seriously, 666. That was my car registration number. J666 ego, you know. And I used to drive down the highway, or the motorway as we call them. And some people would be looking shocked at my registration, and some people would be putting the thumbs up. And I've always had
Yeah.
this sort of two-fingered approach to authority and stuff like that, believe it or not, Todd. I've been a little bit of a rebel in my life. And but 666, the inverted thing and all that, to me,
Yeah.
that's the beauty lies in the belly of the beast. There's absolutely no doubt
Yeah.
about that. And when you can
That's right.
turn round and face all the beastiness in you and be okay
Yeah.
with it, it changes into something different. It gets formed into loving power, loving energy, loving drive.
That's right.
And I believe that. And if you still feel uncomfortable in accepting who you truly are at depth, then that's going to block you really from going forward on a fast track. It's the thing about now
Yeah.
is acceptance, total acceptance of who you are, what you've done, and all that sort of thing. And if you can find somebody who will listen to you while you offload this stuff and not jump in and ask any advice or offer any advice, just listen to it so that you can shame the devil in the presence of another human being. I honestly
Oh my
believe.
God. Hang on. I want to get that is a meme. Shame the devil
Yeah.
of another human being. Oh my
Shame the
God, this is
devil
gold.
in the presence of another human being, because that's where the true humility comes in, that you're basically saying to somebody else, this is what I found out about myself. Here are
Yeah.
all my secrets, right? Because
Yeah.
you can keep it to yourself. You can share that with source or God or spirit, but they already know. It's the act of telling somebody else the complete
Yeah.
story that frees you from it. That shames the
Yeah.
devil. It brings the light in, because that's basically what you're doing. And Todd, I said on your first show, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I've learned that now, that many of us, we've buried stuff down that we've been ashamed of. It's not buried dead, it's buried alive, and it's always taking our energy away from us. As soon as you admit it, because most people hide. I've had loads and loads of stuff that I've been totally and utterly ashamed of in my past. Todd, as far as I know and as far as I feel, there's nothing left in there that I feel ashamed of or anything like that. I've completely and utterly opened up, been cleansed, and I feel free of all this stuff now. It doesn't mean to say that I go along and lead with my chin and tell everybody my story, right? But if I feel that I can share my story because it feels like the right thing to do, and somebody else resonates with it and it releases them, then that's my job, really. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that lady that was on yesterday, the publisher,
Oh,
Patricia.
yes. Yeah, that was great. That was a great show.
Yeah, very good. And she said she's into the story, but she made it very clear, you tell the story for exactly what you said, but you don't become the story.
No.
And that's very true. So yeah, I think there was a period of time when the stories were, it was too heavy. And, as we all start to work through it and everything, we didn't talk about it so much, but I do think it has great relevance. I really do, because if you're not becoming the story, if you're not attached to the story. Yeah. And that thing about the 12, I've heard a lot of people say that when I woke up, that's what I got, was everything was 12, and then of course 369, but I mean, everything was 12. Everything I saw was 12. And I was going to make a joke a minute ago, because I remember they used to appear around this table, these guides, and it was kind of like your voice a while ago. Sometimes one would step up and speak, but sometimes all of them would step up and speak. So I think that's what's happening to you. I really do.
But I think, yeah.
And other people.
I was diagnosed at one time with multiple schizophrenia, with multiple personality disorder, right? And I think that that's what it was, is that the 12 disciples in my psyche, right? They were all in chaos. They were all trying to talk at the same time. And what happens is, as the heart opens, the representative of the Christ, what actually happens is the Christ then takes the lead, and he basically becomes the master of the 12. And he'll maybe say, Peter, right, what have you got to offer? Shut up, you lot, right, and let Peter have a chat here, because he's good at this bit. And then Mary, because only half masculine, half feminine, half yin, half yang, I think there's a balance there. Mary, you're good at this bit. Peter, you've had your go now. Shut up and let Mary have her say. And so everybody gets to share at the appropriate time. And then that conglomeration of solutions gets put into one, and then the action gets taken then. So this is where multiple intelligence comes from. Every single human being, according to me and the way I feel, has the potential of these 12 separate vibrations, separate frequencies, separate intelligences. Have you seen the film Phenomenon with John Travolta?
Yes.
Phenomenon with John Travolta.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I feel happened. He had some sort of stellate problem, astrocytoma or something like that, that opened up all these intelligences. But I feel now that through mindfulness, through joyfulness, and through openness, I think that the energies are now opening up, and the whole of the planet, if they let go, they'll be sort of guided towards becoming fully human in all its aspects, really.
Yeah.
I'm on one tonight, mate.
To be found in the belly of the beast.
Absolutely.
Like you said, Carl Jung, freaking genius, shadow genius, said, what did he say? What was the great quote? He said something like, you will not find yourself until you become the monster. And that was his way of saying, you got to go get it all, every bit of it. And I think, and that's, we started the show to talk about that a little bit. I think, there's just been so much ass kicking, I mean, it's like enough. It's done. It's an energy. And I don't care how small the incident is or how large it is. And I think that's one thing, is that frequency, it just doesn't mesh anymore. And it's going away. And actually, so in other words, like the external environment is always talking to us. We've set it up that way. Yes, I get that. But as this has stopped, like for instance, like Franco's date of today, that the inverted 3D is not playing anymore, then the only way it can survive is to be engaged by another human being, really, or to be in your head, in your own head, obviously. But I'm hearing a lot of people say, when I get in my head, it's not staying, it's going away, which is also what Franco had said months ago. He said, this is how it will actually appear. It just won't have anything to grab onto. I think that part of it, people have come in. And the other thing I think people have really come into is, it's never them, it's always me. I mean, that's oneness. That is absolute oneness. If you want to dive into the human hybrid soul and say, okay, what is this? What does it look like? What do I do? Well, if you can just always take it back in, I know that takes training and time, but there's enough evidence out there that it absolutely works. It really does. And it's still being perfected by all of us, but But this egoic engagement, entanglement, distortion, and distraction is not being supported by this universal energy. And I don't know. Um,
I
I'm
agree,
very
mate. And
excited.
I think my job, and Shanine was on this morning to me, you know, and she's got this idea of people like ourselves sharing practical tools, just simple practical tools. And so
Yeah.
there can be this online practical toolkit, you know, and
Mhm.
there'll be a tool there to fit every nut, you know. So it'll be a
Yeah.
great big toolbox, you know, and you find the one that works for you, use that to do what you need to do, and then put it back in the toolbox, maybe for somebody else to pick up at a later date, you know. So that's what we're
Yeah.
going to do. And my thing is that I work a lot with the physical side of things and help people to breathe in a certain way, use a positive emotion to, you know, to sort of get to a coherent state where they
Yeah.
then, at the 0 point, then everything opens up and there's a great big download of universal intelligence that pops in. And that's what I'm trying to show people, because people said to me, well, what do I need to do? And all you need to do is you put your hands on your heart, you cradle
Hmm.
it as though it's like a sacred child, because that sacred child is you. And you imagine that your heart and the child's heart are synchronizing, and you both basically breathe together in love at around about 6 breaths per minute. That's all you need to do. And people then say, well, how can that work? Don't worry about working out how it works. Just put your hands on your heart, cradle the child, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give it a fair trial, 3 10-minute sessions a day, and do that for 90 days if you can. Just give it a fair trial. And I swear to you, if it works for you like it works for me, your life, I nearly said your wife, maybe you need to try it, Todd. Your, your, your wife and your life will be transformed. And Todd, and Morgan, I'm only joking.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. I'm over here. Um, no, you brought up a good point too. Yeah, and we've been talking about this on the show. A lot of people have been talking about how you wake up. We've talked about it, but I mean, it's even become more pronounced. And what I'm talking about is you wake up today, or you wake up tomorrow, and everything change. Everything has changed because there's a higher level of truth. Everything is changing so rapidly. The abundance of processes and modalities are expanding exponentially. Uh, I think a point that you bring up that's a big thing happening too is what you said about Shanine in this toolkit. Look at Vera and Augusti. Look at Morgan and I. Look at other people that have been talking about doing this and doing that. The universe is supporting that, but I promise you, I'm not a prognosticator, but I promise you it's all going to come together in a way that's never been seen before. And the mere fact that we're putting these ideas out and also and or verbalizing them is expanding that field that we're all pulling from. And it's because it's all moving so quantum. That's why I say it's gonna occur and materialize in ways we would have never imagined. And it's gonna just start fitting like a puzzle. This energy that's I guess I don't want to say landed, but that's expanded to a point where it's way past the tipping point. Something's so totally changed. Is mind blowing. 1 year from now, we literally, I believe we could be teleporting. I believe we could be doing all kinds of stuff. I've heard too many people come in with channels and transmissions from the other dimensions, from our
Yeah.
multi dimensions, that said the human beings have no freaking idea how freaking amazing they are. With utmost respect, and that's in regard to what until now has been our untapped skills and abilities that are going to expand at warp speed. I believe they're going to expand at warp speed because of what you preach, because the heart is not only is it we're being led by the heart from everyone, but the machine is the heart. So though you got like this collective heart, and so all that stuff goes in there and it comes out. It ain't like 1 + 1 = 2. it's like 2 million, 2 billion, 2 trillion. The expansion of the heart energy is really what it is.
No, I agree, mate. It's an exponential thing, really. And two gather, and then it just multiplies and explodes. I can feel that. Talking to you now, I can feel it. So all these very practical skills can help to de-obstruct you so that the flow comes through. So we can do things to help ourselves by creating more space in our physical body. This is my belief. You know, yoga, for example, stretching, soft stuff, not hard stuff, right? No tension, all about letting go. So Tai Chi's magnificent if you move, you know, and breathe and use positive emotion to get this mindful movement going on. That can actually enhance the flow. When you start to feel it, it will guide you then much more readily. You know, these are the things. And, you know, I heard you saying on another show, you know, all we need to do is share our experience, our strength,
Yeah.
and our hope. We don't need to be experts on anything except ourselves. And just to say,
Yeah.
this worked for me, but this
Yeah.
didn't work for me. And it's just sharing both sides of the equation. Because as I've said to you many times, and you said to me, what works for you at the same time might be the opposite that what needs to happen to me.
Yeah.
So you see,
Yeah.
we have to feel our way. I might have to say no to somebody. You might have to say
Yeah.
yes to somebody. So it's
Yeah.
completely and utterly individual, you know, that we have to
Yeah.
choose and be 100% responsible for the consequences of the choices that we make. And you know what, Todd? If you make a mistake, you can go back and you say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. No big deal, you know.
That's that. Well, you know what? That's a great point. I brought that up yesterday or the day before. We were having a discussion like this, and I said, for me, I do it for me, and I don't do it. I do it for me because you know what it does for me when I do it. It it allows me to leave something behind that I couldn't. Like I might do something and screw up, and then kind of whatever, forgive myself, and I'm okay, and I leave it. It's gone, but some things stick with you, you know, and so I find that, you know, that the apology helps me a lot. Hopefully, I don't have to do it too much, but
Yeah.
it
But
happens. It
I would
happens.
never say
Yeah.
no, Todd. I would never apologize for anything at all because that little child in me never wanted to see that it was wrong, that it was
Yeah.
clever, that it knew what was
Yeah.
going on. And looking back, oh, in fact, I feel sad now talking about it. Looking back at little Joe, I see how frightened he was. Oh, look at that now. I'm becoming all emotional now. I
Yeah.
see how frightened he was and how the things he did were all good intentioned. They were all good intentioned, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
And, you know, but Todd, some things came out and they were ferocious, mate, you know. And that's what I felt this week, that energy has been coming back. Now it depends on what sort of evaluation you put on it, because if it's a negative evaluation, it becomes defensive and ferocious. But if you cast
Hmm.
it away and open your heart, it becomes more transformative energy. I never had that before, Todd. Fear always caused me to tense up and defend myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 That's exactly right. And that went a long way. You know, you brought up the other thing too that's been coming up on these shows, and actually for months has been coming up on these shows. And the first time I ever heard it, I heard it from Morgan, where she had gotten the a particular modalities or information or whatever years ago, like a lot of these people have 15, 20 years ago, and then was guided to put the stuff out. And, you know, this would have been, say, 10 years ago. And no, you know, 2-3 engagements on a post, and, you know, these people wondering why, you know, why am I doing this? Just keep doing it, because at some point the collective energy will be ready for it. And I think that's what's happened. I think what's happened is two things. One, a lot of people have been talking about on this show that there would come a time when, we've brought it up, I guess, there, there will come a time when we're going to be put to work. And the people that I've asked that, you know, does that resonate? Have you heard the same thing? They all say yes. And so as I look at it, I say, okay, well, there is a group. There is a group that's been on a different track. That's, call them way showers, call them whatever you want. And that's why you're hearing the step up now. That's why you're seeing people step up now. And I believe that these modalities and processes, this ever expanding toolkit is going to be for the vast majority of people. And you're seeing it every day now. People, practitioners coming on here saying people are waking up and they're walking in the door and they're ready. They don't know what to do. They need these modalities. So I think that the way it comes together is going to be in a way it never has before, like I said before. And yeah, we're being reciprocated. We're being supported.
But Todd, I have so many requests, people asking me to help them. You know, I'm not being funny. I get private messages on Messenger. I get people asking me on Facebook. I get people emailing me. I just can't spare any more time because I've got this academic job that I do, you know, and I'd love to be able to bin that and be able to have enough money just to put that aside and go out and do all this stuff, but I can't. So I do have some conflict that comes in me is, well, who do I say yes to? Who do I say no to? Who do I answer the message to? Who don't? You know, and in the end, all I do is I just open my heart and basically show me what to do, you know, and then at the end, I'll make a choice and then I'll let it go then, you know. But I do believe there's going to be more. You've said this, and I feel this. There's going to be more and more online gatherings of more and more people. There's going to be more face-to-face skin meetings where people meet in the physical. There's going to be bigger groups of people. You know, I see it almost like a meeting of tribes. You know, I have a great big Native American connection. And I get a lot of information from the world of spirit connected to Native American, you know, indigenous traditions and stuff like that, you know. And I just feel that it's all like all the tribes are coming. It's to be the 12 tribes again. The 12 tribes are meeting again to reconnect because that was where the fragmentation took place, you know. And I also believe that what happens in the microcosm happens in the macrocosm and vice versa. So what's actually happening globally is happening within our own psyche, and then will be reflected in our own bodies as well. Because I don't know, my body has changed completely in the last few months. It's changed. I've watched it change completely. I've never been this handsome, Todd, in all my life. Right. and also my eyes the eyes are being worked on as we speak.
I have a note here, one of the comments. Oh, so you have a connection to the indigenous, right? The Native American?
Very, very strong indeed.
Can you get me a pair of knee-high buckskin moccasins?
No, because no, I don't do that anymore because it's, you know, there's been an animal. Anyway, let's not go into that one. Right.
No, I'm just messing with
you. Todd, I have that. When certain rhythm comes in,
Joe, that happened. Yeah, let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I did the other night. No, this is actually two stories in one. But the other night, well, it's a brisk 25-minute, 30-minute walk from the cabin to the only store for 10 miles. And it's just a little convenience store, right? And so our car's in the shop, broken. And we have real cabin fever, right? I mean, it's real because we're out here in the middle of nowhere. So I always have to go to the store like by 4 o'clock because it gets dark at 5 and it gets dark like that. As soon as the sun drops over the mountain, boom, it's gone. And then it gets cold as hell. So so I wanted to go to the store. I had a late show that was kind of a, you know, like a last minute thing, and it was dark. So I'm going to go to the store. And as I'm about to go, Morgan tells me that this is the time that the bears eat. And there are bears all over the place over here. So anyway, long story short, you know, she then told me I probably needed to do it for my manhood. Of course, she was just kidding with me the whole time. But of course, in my wounded child, in my, you know, unhealed parts of my inner boy, I took it as a challenge to my manhood. And and so I walked up there and back. It was pretty interesting. I made it out of there alive. But anyway, getting back to the chanting thing, at one point on the way back, as I was getting like 5 minutes from the house, and, you know, even though it was pitch dark and I knew I wasn't out of the woods yet, no pun intended, I felt pretty good. And I started, and I didn't even try. I started to do something, and I've done some, like, I would say like ancient voice or indigenous type voice. I don't know. It just has come out, but it was different. This was different. It just came in, and it wasn't like anything I'd ever heard. But it was similar to how what you were talking about and what you've done, but it was very fast. It moved very fast, like a staccato. But there were one and two syllable, you know, whatever you would call that, sounds. And it was like rapid, man, for like 2 minutes. And I thought, oh my God, what is going on? The only thing I could figure it was some type of activation.
But if you ever listen to Sally Claridge and her light language,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you know, it's amazing how high pitched that is and how rapid that is. And I see that as DNA on off, on off, on off, on off. You know, it's like 0 0 1 0 1 1 0. You know, it's all that, and it's the tones that cause the changes in the DNA. It's not to do with words, as well, you know. You know, but I've been having that.
Yeah.
But I get the other end, you see, because my feeling is if you can't play all the notes on the keyboard, then you're still not fully human or fully activated. And what's been happening to me is I've had so many, because you know I talk in light language as well, right? I get so many different dialects now and different tones coming through. The deepest one, and the one that really scared the shit out of me when it came through, was this one. So that's the deep one. That was, I know. Yeah, I know.
Let me take that one.
But that's, I get with that one is what comes with me is it's the black dragon comes back. I get a samurai warrior comes back, right? And I get a deep connection with ancient Egypt on that one. And the and then there's another one that comes through similar to Sally's at the other end of the spectrum that comes through in very staccato, almost like rapid Morse code that comes through as well, right? And in between now, Tom, I'm getting all sorts of, I can't write at the moment because that takes a bit more sort of, I've really got to go a bit deeper then, because that works right through my pineal gland and right up again, you see. So,
wow.
So what I'm being fed with the information is that in the future, there'll almost like be what's being given to me is called coherence pods. And this is what the ancient Egyptians used to do. Imhotep was the prince of vibrational medicine, right? There used to be these sound chambers, sound and light chambers, and I've been told to call it chromatooptogenetics, that it's sound and light, right? Not pharmaceutical agents. It will be sound and light that realign people in the future. So they go into these almost like sarcophaguses. It's a bit like what's on Stargate, right? They go into these sarcophaguses. The person who's operate them will be able to change the frequencies. It will clean them up. They'll come out almost like going for an ultraviolet sunbed tanning thing, really. They come out, they've been cleansed, and they get kicked off to carry on with their joyful lives. I see that so clearly. We're a few years away from it, you know. But
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And when people say these things about, you know, we're a few years or this or that, I don't know that either. I think it's moving really fast, and there's people already doing what you're talking about. I mean, they're not doing the whole thing, all right, but you know, people are doing sound healing. People are doing with the lights. Keith K out of Arizona, he has several different things he does. You know, you lay down on a I think on like a whatever, like a gurney or whatever they do, a massage table, and light is you know, like, I guess, like passed over your body, right? Different colors and all this. He put it in a pool. You know, there was a get together, and the people were in the pool, and they piped in the music to the pool and the lights, right? And of course there was water. It was spring water. So there's all these things that are coming together. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I think all this stuff is coming together, and we're getting a level of support we never got before. Like synchronicity is like on steroids now, you know? I mean, so I absolutely believe that. Absolutely. There's no doubt.
And the other thing I'm getting is how important the skin is and what's called the integumentary system. It's really about the fluid that passes between cells. It's called the interstitium. And the more that we can practice techniques to relax, to clean ourselves up, to take care of our skin in an important way. The nadis, you know, that we've got the chakras, then we've got the meridians, then we've got the nadis, which are like very, very fine capillaries. The more we care for ourselves, the more the energy will be able to get in and de-obstruct those small channels, and we become more and more radiant then, so that this light works through us. We don't generate the light. We have to get out of the way so that the light transforms us. That's in my understanding is what surrender is. I don't know what's going on. And that's true, that, Todd. I don't know what's going on, but I can feel that some big changes are working through me. And to me, this is what embodiment is. Embodiment means get out of the way and be done to.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to do
Yeah.
anything. You don't have to get your head around anything. In fact, you have to let go of everything in order to be transformed by this new energy, this cleansing power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same template. It just looks different. You know, it's the same thing. Get out of the way. You're right. It's that's the alignment. I wanted to ask you, I saw a newspaper article from, I think it's, I'm looking for it now. Brighton. Is there a Brighton, England?
Yeah, that's where Shanine lives, or she just moved from there.
Oh, that's where Shanine lives.
Yeah.
Well, I saw an article. Oh, here it is. And it says Brighton. Oh, yeah. Okay. Brighton, England, UK. There was a report of two men in a park speaking in a Darth Vader voice, grunting and growling, and a crazy pregnant woman barking like a dog, that were arrested by the British bobbies and are being held in the Queen's dungeon at this time. Does that stuff really go on over there?
Yeah. They were the shadow characteristics of some very enlightened people, right? And Sifu Buggy, you know, I love Sifu Buggy. He's barking mad, but he's one of those people that you think he's barking, but he's probably one of the most sane people on this planet, right? And
Well,
he's
you
one
know
of
what?
those, he's one of those people who, you know, you want to listen to what he says because he can just tune into your soul at any level, and he can offer slight guidance just to put you back onto the correct path. I love Sifu Buggy. I've only met him the once in person, but it's almost like I've known him forever.
Yeah. No, there's a good group over there, man. Very good group. Yeah, absolutely, man. This is, you know, it really is, I don't know. I just feel like it's something that's absolutely shifted, you know, absolutely just, and I, you know, and Franco's intel is pretty much the same as a couple of other people's who say things totally different, you know. It just feels like there is no obstruction. Nothing is in our way. I mean, call it karma's gone, whatever, you know. And yes, you're very, very correct in regard to, as this stuff comes in, there is a level of responsibility that comes with each level of expansion. It is supreme power. It's divine power in the process. And each step we become more powerful. Each step you become more responsible as well. We have a responsibility. And I think you earn that by the shadow work that you do, you know, and the types of things that you're talking about, freeing yourself up, freeing your energy up.
Well, we're definitely on the right path, but there is no path. You know, it's all that stuff, you know, it's all that guru speak when people try to say, explain it. You just can't explain it really. It's just basically, you've got to be able to feel your way through things, you know. And that's why I'm writing, you know, the F-off approach to health and happiness is focus on feelings first, not thoughts, feelings. And I think what's happening is, as this cleansing energy comes through, our emotions are coming more to the surface. If we know that when we feel tense, our egos grab that at some point, then you can relax, drop your shoulders, open your heart even more. And you can't, F off, right? So you can, and the same to you, foff. I nearly said no better than on air,
we have, you know, that.
Sorry.
You know, I'm okay. Valerie Peterman, man, I'd love to get her on here. She is connected. Anyway, she has some high level intel that came in that Dr. Joe and Sufi Bogie, I can't say his name, Brighton, have shared many lifetimes together. I can see them when they were monks in a monastery.
Yeah.
That goes on. There's an adult version of a continuation of that story, but we won't.
Does it mean that we were very close?
Well,
Listen, this is supposed to be a serious business, this, Todd Medina.
I, I can't be serious with you all the time. And that's the thing too. One of the reasons I love you is because, man, yeah, we can't, like you said, share your experience, share what you know, and put it on the table at the round table where nobody's at the head, and crack a joke. I mean, yeah, you know what? We've all been uptight. Every one of us has been uptight. And that's what I was talking about at the top of the show, is like there's this little frequency of uptightedness that we have almost all the time. I don't care who you are. And it's because it's a bunch of little things. It's a bunch of old embedded, things. But I believe these things are dissipating because of the work we're doing, and it's starting to have a real effect on what we're experiencing collectively.
No, I agree. And I think 2020 is the return of the summer of love. It's going to be,
Yeah.
I mean, I was a hippie in my young days, with earrings and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I can feel that same joyful energy coming back, and I'm waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, every single morning, and I feel wide awake. And I've been going back through some of the records and the music that I liked. And last night I spent 2 hours from 2 till 4 o'clock listening to Supertramp. And it took me right back to those days, right back to those
I love
feelings.
that.
Yeah.
Well, you're the
Crisis,
same
what
age.
crisis? No, I'm
Yeah,
60, I'm coming up to 65, but I look younger than you because you've had a harder life than me.
I can't even. That's why I always have that there so I can cover my face. Supertramp. Yeah, I love that song. Take the Long Way Home. I love that song.
Yeah.
That was a metaphysical song, 1980. Man, that was.
They're really, really, really tuned in, and they're very sensitive about it, and the message that flows through is marvelous. And of course, I love the Beatles as well. So I've been listening to the Double White album and Supertramp over the last couple of days, and it's just taken me right back to those open, flowing, joyful days of my youth, But they were chemically induced. A lot of that was chemically induced. Now I'm getting the same feeling through natural inner pharmacy, and I do believe that my DMT levels are rising because all the vibrations and frequencies are getting together to produce that vibration at the crown chakra and the pineal gland. That's what it feels like, It feels like my roots open and my crown's open, and I feel completely and utterly unobstructed,
Wow. I feel like in my case, the root went last. It's it's not like linear. That. I mean, it's like phases or levels, but it's quantum. I don't know how to get it, but I do feel that the root is either fully open or damn close, like damn close. Yeah, because because it went into this 2 or 3, 4 month thing where I knew it was being. I was shown it was being, cleaned out or transformed or whatever, But yeah, and again, as the individuals go, so go the collective. So this is what's out there in these circles, and at a minimum, we have a strong enough minority in this realm that it's catching fire now.
Yeah.
It's catching fire.
Marvelous,
and we haven't even seen the young people yet.
No.
And that's when we can all just put our feet up on the desk and retire, because that'll be a wave we won't even. That'll be such a download for us.
Yeah. And it'll be a rest for us as well. You sort of hand over the mantle to the young people, and they'll say, shift over, it's our turn now. and then we can
That's
go
right.
and enjoy. We can go and enjoy the rest of our time, you know, because sometimes this work,
right.
it is quite tough sometimes, really, you know. But you know,
Yeah.
we signed up for it, you know. As my sort of the person that helps me is get over yourself and get on with it, you know. And that's a sort of tough love thing. But in the end, it has been that is get over yourself, Joe, meaning the ego, get back into your
Yeah.
soul and start to work again from what your soul mission purpose is, you know. And soul to me stands for source of unconditional love. And that's what I talk
Yeah.
to, Todd. I put my hands on my heart and I say,
Yeah.
soul, source of unconditional love, give us a clue, because up here, I've got no effing idea what to do next.
Yeah.
And then
That's right, man.
I just wait for the little being moved by my soul. And it seems to be
Yeah.
working, mate, you know. So there you
We
go, old
have
chap.
we have a headline from the, no, it's a daily, a quote, a daily message of the day from the Freedom Network, authored by Shanine Moulin.
Oh yeah.
Says you two don't forget to take your hot cocoa before bed now. Two hyper children before
Right.
bedtime.
Sending you love and light, Shanine, because you need it more than most.
Hell, it took me 10 shows to say her name right. she's putting it out there. There's a lot of people putting it out there, and there's a lot of interesting dynamics in the light circle, the social media light circle, you know, like worker circles, whatever. I think we learn a lot from it. It's such a gift to be able to see all these different frequencies going back and forth, you know, open hearts, projection, this and that. Judgment has no place in this. And I think that's been a big lesson for us. But at the end of the day, whether I resonate with someone or don't resonate with someone, and I think this works for everybody, these people that are putting it out there, like yourself and like Shanine, and more people stepping up in their own way. Many people I've talked to and on this show, you gotta hand it to them. That, you know, that is the work in action. You know, the work in action is putting it into motion. And like you're saying, you're in a situation where you're working your job, and then you have your other thing.
Yeah.
And I know that whatever the right formula is, it's going to align for you. And that's what I think is happening for everyone else. But it takes putting one foot in front of the other to do that. And I think that's the big payoff that we're going to have take a little while to get used to, this universal equal reciprocation that we never had in the previous incarnation or incarnations.
No,
Unless you were a monk in a monastery, with Sufi Boggy Brighton.
yeah, yeah. But we do have a close connection, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that maybe another time.
Well, that sounds good. Joe, I look forward to many more collaborations. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the drop in knowledge and wisdom and technique and modality, and being the example. And
Thanks, mate.
please just do me one favor, if you would. Could you do me a favor? Could you just go up to your wife,
Yeah,
get on your knees, kiss her feet,
yeah, I do.
and say,
She's
no,
got a
for
full
me,
fetish.
having to put, it's not a fetish. It's an honor. She's a goddess. She could be
Yeah.
the goddess. She could be Mother Goddess, putting up with you.
You know what? My wife, I mean, she'd be horrified if she found out that I was talking about her. But she's the most supremely wonderful feminine on this planet, as far as I'm concerned, you know. But don't tell anybody, Todd.
Well, if that's the case, then you know she's a mirror. So what does that tell you about you?
Yeah.
All right, man. Till the next time, I guess next month
Yeah,
we're gonna hit the road
we are.
tomorrow, and we'll be settling down in about 4 days and start scheduling again. But I'm sure we'll see each other in December once or twice.
Yeah, and we're all sending love to you both, and give a big hug to Morgan.
Will do. You take care.
See you soon, mate.
See you later,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.